Colorado Republicans rumble over who's the best fit for 4th, 8th districts. Rep. Lauren Boebert absent from debate stage ahead of June 25 primary. A crowd of Republican activists and insiders gathered under the Longhorn Skull Disco Ball at a Denver country music venue Saturday to hear from a slate of candidates, hoping to represent two adjacent but starkly different congressional districts centered on northeastern Colorado. The first of the debates, hosted at the Grizzly Rose by the Republican Women of Weld and the Lincoln Club of Colorado, featured GOP State Rep. Gabe Evans of Fort Lupton and former State Rep. Janak Joshi, who were going head-to-head for the Republican nomination in the 8th Congressional District. The state's newest and most competitive district, it was created by an independent redistricting commission in 2021 and is currently represented by U.S. Rep. Yadira Caravio of Thornton, a Democrat who narrowly won the seat 2 years ago. Evans, who holds a large fundraising advantage over Joshi and has won the endorsements of many state and national GOP figures, is a former Army helicopter pilot and Arvada police officer who was elected to the State House of Representatives in 2022. He pitched himself as someone who would never compromise on core principles but can talk to anybody in the battleground 8th District, which includes Democratic-leaning suburbs in North Metro Denver, as well as more conservative areas in Weld County. "I live in this district. I work in this district. My kids go to school in this district," Evans said. "I can win those moderates that we need to be able to flip the seat and send a common-sense conservative to Washington." Evans told debate moderators his support for former President Donald Trump, the GOP's presumptive nominee for president, was unchanged by his conviction this week by a New York jury on 34 felony fraud charges related to a scheme to influence the outcome of the 2016 election through hush money payments to a porn star. Trump has vowed that on the first day of his second presidential term, he would begin the largest domestic deportation operation in American history, and laid out plans in an April interview with Time magazine to use local police departments and the U.S. military to carry out his program. Trump has frequently compared the scope of his plans to a 1954 U.S. government operation named after a racial slur for Mexicans living in the United States, which deported an estimated 1.1 million people to Mexico. The crackdown resulted in conditions on trains, trucks, and cargo ships that a later congressional investigation likened to slave ships, and led to the deaths of at least 88 deportees. Evans, the grandson of Mexican immigrants, did not answer directly when asked if he supported Trump's plans to deport all of the estimated 11 million undocumented immigrants residing in the U.S. But after prodding, he said he would not ultimately object to Trump's use of the military to enforce his deportation program, though he prefers aggressive measures to force state and local authorities to comply first. "We need to go after the sanctuary city and state policies that are handcuffing our law enforcement at all levels," Evans said. "After that, then you can look at what else is necessary to protect the territorial integrity of the United States, to include National Guard." That answer and others throughout the debate drew pointed remarks from Joshi. "I won't be wishy-washy like that. I will support President Trump," Joshi said to cheers from the crowd. Joshi, an Indian immigrant, served 3 terms in the State House between 2011 and 2017, representing Colorado Springs. He acknowledged during Saturday's debate that he had only registered to vote in the 8th District in February of this year. In response to moderators' questions, he denied that he was misrepresenting himself by wearing a physician's coat and stethoscope in campaign materials, despite the fact that he surrendered his medical license in 2008. He said that he could have won the frivolous lawsuit that led to the revocation but chose to retire rather than pay $100,000 or more for his legal defense. "It's a very similar situation that's going on with President Trump," Joshi said. "The government has an unlimited amount of taxpayer money. This government needs to be controlled. They are harassing the citizens." Evans was asked by moderators to explain his responses in a previous candidate forum of yes-ish and no-ish to questions relating to whether the 2020 election was stolen from Trump. He said the decision in October 2020 by social media platforms to flag or suppress stories about leaked data from Hunter Biden's laptop amounted to election interference. That information being kept away from the voters prior to the election was an act of interference in that election, Evans said.